Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Paumiko Dog Training Q&A. These Paumiko Dog Training Q&As are from questions from the Paumiko Inner Circle. And the Paumiko Inner Circle is a closed Facebook group for people who are following the Paumiko Dog Guide. And the Paumiko Dog Guide is an online video series with everything you need to train your dog. So in the Paumiko Dog Guide, we filmed everything I did to train my own dog from start to finish, right from a little 8-week-old pup, right through to a fully trained dog. And we also did some work with some older dogs with existing problems to retrain them. The Paumiko Dog Guide comes with this backup support of being in the inner circle, and you can ask us questions, you can send us messages, and you can also have your questions answered in these Q&As. So let's get into it. There's only a couple here, but they are quite big questions. There's quite a lot I could say about them, so we'll see how we go. It might be a short one, or I might just start rambling like I usually do for ages. Gail. Hi Paul, I have an 11-week-old border collie. She gets on well with my son's dog, but growls at other dogs. I took her around to my daughter's. She growled at her dog, but when her dog laid down, she was fine. Another time my son and his dog plus my pup all went round to our friend's place. They have a female dog, and I was told my puppy growled at her, so growled at her friend's dog as well. Any ideas, as I don't want her to get aggressive towards other dogs? So this really just comes back to one of our main principles of pressure and praise, and of putting pressure on what we don't want and praise on what we do want. And there's a whole heap of other things surrounding it too that I'll get into, but for starters, right at the most basic level of this issue, if I'm with my dog, and if your dog's 11 weeks old, then generally if you're following the Paumiko Dog Guide, if you're around other pups or dogs at this stage, your dog would generally be on a leash or a long line. So it would be close to you under full supervision, particularly if you were beginning to run into a problem like this. I would wind everything right back and just go, okay, I'm seeing the beginnings of potential problems with this pup around other dogs, so I've got to be really on the ball here, and I would really be super conscious and aware of those situations where your pup is going to be around other dogs, particularly new dogs, and I'd want to be right there watching it, supervising it. And the moment it starts escalating, the moment your pup starts growling at another dog, you want to put a bit of pressure on it. You want to check it. You want to say, just command a disapproval, maybe a little check on the lead or the long line, maybe a touch on the side, just a touch with the tip of your fingers, at the same time. Right, as soon as it starts. And remember, with pressure and praise, we always want to use the minimum amount of pressure or praise required to get the job done. So that means if we can divert our pup or stop it from growling by just saying, just a little touch, then that's all you want to do. You don't want to say, cut it out and give it a big yank or anything like that. Always minimum amount of pressure or praise. And if you are there and you are doing everything else right, and your timing is good, and what I mean by that, your timing, that you don't sort of let it growl, let it slowly escalate, let it get worse and worse, and then do something. The moment your pup growls, or it may even be before it growls. In the Paumiko Dog Guide, we talk about correcting the thought. So we're trying to watch our pup or dog and see by their body language when they begin thinking about carrying out that behavior. So generally with a pup or a dog growling at another dog, you'll see its body language change first. It'll stiffen up, its hackles might come up, it might stand a little bit tall, it may even just get a strange glare in its eyes. And you want to watch your dog and learn to read it as good as you can, and ideally, again, the pup or dog wouldn't even get to the point of growling. You could see it switch from that nice mouth open, panting, wagging, super relaxed to as soon as it starts stiffening up and its mouth closes and its eyes go glaring, and right before it growls or snaps or does anything, you go, hey, settle down, give it a check, a little bit of pressure, and as soon as it stops, you release all that pressure. Maybe step back a little bit. Give the dog, your pup or dog, a little bit of space away from that other dog, and remembering with pressure and praise, it's always both. So we're only ever trying to use pressure to cut off that negative behavior at a pass, nip it in the bud and stop it. And then we're always trying to aim towards the point where we can get our pup or dog doing what we do want them to do in that situation so we can praise them. So we never want to just say, no, don't do that. No. We want to be saying, no, don't do that. Step back a bit, relax, good dog. This is what you're meant to do. And again, we're trying to read that body language. We're trying to read the thought or the moment when our pup or dog begins to relax. And that mouth closing and the eyes changing and the ears changing a bit, that's really a big one for that growling. Usually a pup or dog will be pretty happy, mouth open, panting, or just relaxed. And if it is mouth open, panting, and another dog comes into its space and that pup or dog begins to think about, hey, I don't like this other dog here, usually its mouth will close, its eyes will change, it'll really start looking at the other dog, it'll stiffen up, stand up straighter, move forward, and then start doing something. Very, very rare that a dog will just go from totally relaxed, panting, looking around to just straight away or snapping. There'll usually be a build-up, and even if it's only 3 or 4 seconds, if you can correct it in that build-up phase instead of letting it get to the growling phase, it's so much better. And you will have to use so much less pressure to get that done. If you can see when your pup's just starting to stiffen up and think about it, and you can just say, hey, and just step back. Maybe a little pull on the lead and step back, give it a bit of space. Maybe it thinks about it again. You say, hey, just relax. Maybe touch it, just your tone, just that going from, you may be at a friend's place, so you're all talking, everything, hey, how are you? Everything's going, and then you see your dog doing something, you just say, oi, hey, touch it. Just a touch with the tip of the fingers. And again, as soon as it's starting to relax, you want to start rolling on the praise. And again, you don't want to say, good dog, and go crazy. It's always the minimum amount of pressure or praise required to get the job done. Just to let the dog know, good dog, this is what you're supposed to do. Just relax. And as it starts relaxing more, you can maybe roll on a bit more praise. And in my experience as a dog trainer, basically every time a dog is doing something, it's not because it wants to be doing it. It's not because it knows it doesn't have to do, it's particularly something negative. Mainly talking about something negative behavior here. When a pup or dog is carrying out a weird negative behavior that is no fun for it or the other dog or anyone around it, it's not doing it because it knows it shouldn't be doing it, or it's doing it because it thinks it's supposed to, or it's just getting stuck in a weird pattern. And what we're trying to do with that pressure, no, hey, step back, as they start to relax, good dog. And you can see dogs relaxing and realizing, oh, I don't have to do that. I'm not supposed to, and I don't have to. And you're always trying to work towards that positive conclusion where the pup or dog's doing the right thing, you're praising it, the other dog's happy, everyone else in the situation is happy, and the pup or dog's beginning to realize that, hey, I don't have to do this weird stuff. And you most of the time, to get a good, quick, just nip it in the bud and actually get some real results happening, that all starts with a little bit of pressure, cutting it off at the pass. That's why I use pressure in my training, because it just works so much faster than trying to be fully positive the whole time, trying to ignore the negative behavior and lead the dog towards positive stuff with treats and stuff. I've tried all that. I work with lots of people that have been through lots of trainers that's 100% positive and never use negative reinforcement, and I just see it so often not work. That's why I don't do it, and I have very, very few problems with my dogs, and I don't have to use much pressure at all. So that's really that for me. The answer to that, based on the information that you've given me in that question. And I've really already covered, other than putting pressure on it, minimum amount of pressure you can, trying to get your dog relaxed in that situation. That'll often mean calming the situation down. If you're introducing your pup into too much of an intense situation with too many new people around, it's off leash, other dogs are off leash, and it's all a little bit full on, it can be pretty difficult to manage that type of thing sometimes, and you'll have to work with it in more of a controlled and structured way. For example, setting up a situation with one of your, instead of it just being, happening just spur of the moment, not much thought in it, you're just happening to be around at your friend's place and they have another dog and you're there to visit, and it's not about the pup or the dog. I'm talking about setting up a scenario and saying, hey, calling your friend and saying, hey, I've got this slight problem that could be starting with my pup, so I just want to be really vigilant and careful with it and just try to nip it in the bud and not let it turn into anything serious. When's a good time for me to come around when there's not too many people there? I'll message you when I turn up. You can get your dog on a lead. I'll have my dog on a lead, and we can just have everything nice and calm and relaxed, and we can try to introduce our dogs together. And I want to be right there. I don't want to be fully engaged with you or fully engaged with someone else there. I want to be concentrating on my dog, so I can be watching its body language. As soon as it starts having a bit of a growl or tightening up, I can put a bit of pressure on it, tone things down, and then hopefully they start relaxing, and me and your dog can start interacting in a relaxed way, and then we can praise them and go from there. That type of thing can work very, very well. And with these types of things, I don't know how bad it is. I've seen, obviously anything from a dog that is too friendly with every single dog it meets and just running up super stoked on everyone, right through to dogs that just want to absolutely kill everything that they see. I've seen both. Unfortunately, I've seen both ends of the spectrum. But one thing I will say with some things like this, and obviously I don't know exactly what's going on here because I haven't seen it, but generally, particularly as these things begin with a young dog, this dog's 11 weeks old. This question's a couple of weeks old, so it's a couple of weeks older now. Generally, if you get it right quickly, early, it can be very surprising at how quickly you can unravel it, and you're just having no problems at all. And your pup can go from actually quickly getting pretty damn weird around every other dog it meets to, if you just absolutely nail the stuff on the head, you'll just completely turn them around in about 3 or 4 interactions. And you see the pup go, oh, I don't have to be a weirdo around other dogs, and it's actually way more fun when I'm not, and you're just away to the races. The other side of the coin is, if you don't start dealing with these types of things with certain dogs, it can get really weird really quick. And once you get a certain way down that path, it can get, things just compound, and it can get sort of incrementally way harder to deal with and way harder to come back. There's a real like fork in the road here. So while it may or may not be very serious at the moment, yeah, I would just treat any type of aggression stuff. I'd treat with loads of caution, and even super mild with a young pup. I'd be at this stage. I'd be super confident on getting on top of it, but I would be super vigilant and really put that time aside to deal with it in the right way. I hope that answers that question. Feel free, Gail, to comment, ask another question, update us on this, let us know how you're going. Tamati says, hi everyone, this is my girl Awa. Awa looks like a Rottweiler puppy. Beautiful looking pup, just crashed out on a big pillow there. This is my girl Awa. She is about 3 months old. She is very well behaved in the crate where she sleeps. That's great. No whining or barking. Awesome. She walks in all by herself and knows when it's sleep time. She comes when she's called and sits on command. But when distracted by our first dog, Bo, a golden retriever, so I'm guessing this is the other dog. She comes and sits on command even when distracted by our first dog, Bo. That's great. Obviously been doing all the stuff in the Paumiko dog guide properly. But there are some things I'd like a little advice on. So here I go. My partner and I work very long hours. We both leave home about 5:30 a.m. and don't get home until 7 p.m. She stays on our deck that provides a lot of shelter alone, with plenty of water, a paddle pool, and toys beyond measure. So I think that's working all right. I've read this already. I think that's working all right for them, that part. As soon as one of us get home, we welcome her with hugs and attention and led her off the deck to play with our golden retriever Bo, who is 3 years old. She would rather follow us everywhere, however, with house chores and dinner to accomplish. We leave her to play and chase Bo, who usually is well behaved, until again I give her attention and practice calming her while our dog Bo is trying to distract her. That's not ideal, you're saying. And this question, it's not bad, but it's a little bit in pieces and muddled up. So you're saying, she'd rather follow us everywhere, however, with house chores and dinner to accomplish, we leave her to play with Bo, who is usually well behaved. You leave her to play with Bo until you give her attention and practice calming her while our dog Bo is trying to distract her. That's not a good idea. That you are trying to calm her. And I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I'm sort of imagining you're trying to work with your pup while Bo is trying to distract her. It doesn't sound like a great situation, particularly at this age. But at this early age, when I'm really engaging one-on-one with a pup, I want to be doing the vast majority of that in a very low distraction environment, and I want to be doing it very constructively, preferably on a long line where I'm working on those basic early drills from the Paumiko dog guide, our stop, go, come, and all of that sort of thing. I don't want to be in a sort of suboptimal situation where I'm trying to calm a pup down and trying to get its attention and trying to do stuff while other things is going on, remember, little bit of a cheesy line here, but practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. So whatever you're doing on a daily basis with your pup or dog, that's sort of what you're imprinting. And if you're often working with them in a distracted environment and you're trying to calm them down, it's not necessarily going that well, then that's really what you're setting up to be your relationship with your dog. And that's why that super low distraction environment, particularly in those first few months to a year, is so important to get those patterns set up, to get that stop, go, come, heel, turn, attention, attentiveness, proximity, really, really important with any dog, particularly with a breed such as a Rottweiler, which, hey, I know they can be absolutely lovely, but they're the sort of breed where you definitely don't want things to get pear-shaped on you. But lately, anyway, back to the question, that was a bit of a digression there. But lately, when left unattended, the pair of them have been ruining the yard, absolutely tearing it to pieces. My young pup Awa has started digging holes, eating anything she can find, even digging up and eating grass. They have loads of chewy toys, but they would rather eat the trees and dig holes and rip sticks off the trees and leave them scattered everywhere. So what to do? Buy more stimulating toys? No. Supervise her when she is with Bo? Yes, definitely. Do I lock Bo up? A lot of the time, yes. Or will this eventually fade out? Nah. If you keep doing it, it won't eventually fade out. It will get worse and worse. Or at the very least become a long-term imprinted behavior and habit for your pup. And if you think it's digging holes and ripping sticks off trees now as a 3-month-old Rottweiler, imagine what it's going to be doing when it's like potentially 30, 40, 50 kilos, and or not even when it's not fully grown, but when it's 9 months old and just peaking in that adolescence, but it's also big and strong. And then if it really goes through to adult life and you've got this full-size Rottweiler that has digging and destruction and chewing and breaking imprinted as part of its daily routine, that's going to be, let's just say, you don't want it, obviously. I was trying to think of a nice way of saying that, but it could be really, really, really bad. By the way, Bo is a show-off and only does this around other dogs. Any tips would be great. First of all, and I wrote a comment on this, but this was just quite a good, I wrote a comment on this. What did I say? Here's the comment that I wrote in a hurry, but it's probably not a bad response because it's just to the point and doesn't really beat around the bush. I said, you're giving them way too much freedom and setting them up to fail. Toys definitely won't help. If anything, it'll make it worse. It won't fade out. It'll become ingrained. The first thing to do is stop putting the dogs in the situation in which they are failing. Eliminate the situation. Definitely supervise them and give them more structured, supervised exercise and stimulation instead of leaving them unattended to destroy the backyard. I'll cover this in the Q&A soon. So that's it. So first things first, when you start running into a problem, is just eliminate it, and that's why one of the first things we get started is kenneling and separation. having a pup or dog happy and comfortable being in a kennel or in a crate, or at least separated and on its own. So first things first, you come home one day, you let your pup out in the yard with your other dog, and you go out there and holy hell, they're digging holes and they're ripping branches off the tree. This is no good, but I've got to finish cooking tea. You can put them both in the kennel for an hour while you cook tea, sit down and eat, and then you go out and you let them out and you let them run around and you supervise them. Or you put one on a lead, put the pup on a lead, take it out to a park, do half an hour work with it, come home, do the same with your other one. Once the pup's a year or so old and they're more trained together, you can take them both out. You can actually start doing it earlier. We go over a lot of that stuff in the Paumiko Dog Guide. But man, again, the first thing is just eliminate it from happening. Stop putting the dogs in the situation in which they're failing. Don't set them up to fail, set them up to succeed. So that's the first thing. Stop letting both dogs out at the same time. And again, kenneling can be very important for this. You're saying that she only does it with other dogs, and that's very common too. So one way around that would be hopefully the other dog can go in a kennel. Quite often I see that situation, particularly with people that are new to systems like the Paumiko Dog Guide. They go, hey, we're putting our pup through the Paumiko Dog Guide or the blueprint. And the pup's real good, coming along nicely, but when we let it out with the older dog, this happens or that happens. And I say, well, when you have the pup out, lock the other dog up. And they say, oh, the other dog's never been in a kennel and it goes crazy when we put it in one. So that you're in a sticky spot there. And that's, again, why kenneling's so important, because it's such a useful tool for isolating and breaking up patterns and eliminating difficult situations. If both dogs could go in a kennel and they only dug holes and destroyed the place while they were both out together, I'm guessing the other dog is free in the section on its own all day, or are they both on the deck all day? I'm not sure what's happening there, but then I would lock up the other dog, maybe leave the pup out in the section on its own. I would guess though, if it's doing it, it may not do it on its own in the first 10 minutes or 15 or 20 minutes, but eventually it's going to start tearing something up. It's just the way it goes. And quite often you get a time frame like that. You can get home, let the pup out. It might walk around and go to the bathroom a couple of times or wander around and then start to get bored and start digging. And that's where we talk about giving a pup or dog freedom sessions and slowly giving them more and more freedom and responsibility as they get ready for it. But we're always watching them, always watching them carefully for any type of issues that may be beginning. So you can sort of cut it out the window and go, if they start digging a hole, if my pup's going to start digging a hole, I want to have my eyes on it the very first time it goes to scratch at the dirt, and I want to go out the window and go straight out and put it in its kennel or put it in a crate or put it back on the deck. And every time it does that, it's the same with house training. If you just bring a pup or dog inside and just leave it running around the house while you cook dinner, and it's not house trained yet, and it's like a 10-week-old pup, and you're not watching it, chances are it's going to walk around out of sight into another room and take a piss, and you're not going to be there to do anything, and you're going to find it an hour later and then go, oh no, the pup pissed inside, and take the pup to it and go, no, bad pup, and then put it outside, but it's all too late then. And then you do that again, do that 4 or 5 times, and you've got a pup or dog that now it's ingrained. Again, practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So the more times that pup pisses inside, the more time your pup digs holes in the section, the more likely it's going to be to do that forever. But the way we house train in the Paumiko Dog Guide is we start crating and kenneling straight away. So all of a sudden we can create a routine and the pup can go in and out of the crate, and then we start giving the pup very small amounts of supervised freedom in the house. So the first time the pup sniffs the carpet, turns in a circle and goes to take a pee, we're right there. No, cut it out. We pick it up. A little bit of pressure, pick it up, take it outside, and we watch it until it goes to the toilet outside. And as soon as it's going to the toilet outside, we say, good pup, good pup. And pressure on what we don't want, praise on what we do, and very quickly the pup knows. I'm not meant to go inside. I am meant to go outside, and quite soon, when they want to go to the toilet, they'll start walking around in circles, walking over to the door, and all of a sudden you've got a house-trained pup or dog. It's the same with all this other stuff. Freedom, it's that principle, freedom and responsibility. Not giving your pup or dog freedom and responsibility until it's ready for it. And it's really about guiding it, being there every step of the way. And, you know, pressure and praise, kenneling, crating, separation, long line, leads, one-on-one time. All of these things are all part of it. It's so important. Hopefully I've hammered that out enough. Tamati actually replied straight away to my reply there, saying, I thought that might be the case, and I'm very glad that's the answer. He said, because it gives them the opportunity to get out and work with the dogs more or something. But yeah, that's it. That's it. But two pretty good topics there. And again, it always comes back to those principles of pressure and praise, freedom, responsibility, always setting a dog up for success, not setting them up to fail, you know, and just working your way through it. So that's it, guys. Thanks to everyone, all our new signups on the Paumiko Dog Guide. Super awesome. If you want to check the Paumiko Dog Guide out, paumicodogtraining.com. And you can also check out Paumiko Dog Training on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We haven't been super active on social media with the Paumiko Dog Guide and Paumiko Dog Training stuff, but we are going to be doing some stuff early this year, so in the next couple of months. But it's all there. It's all there, set up, cranking, ready to go. If you want a good, solid, full-on system with everything there, there's loads in there. It's all sort of broken down into steps and phases and chapters and parts. Quite a cool layout. There's a couple of different sign-up options there. There's 100% money-back, 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can sign up for a few bucks, check it all. You get access to the whole thing straight away for a really low price. And if you decide it's not for you, you just let us know. And so far, no one's done that because it's pretty damn solid system. Thanks, guys and girls, everyone, people, dogs. I wanted to thank the Rottweiler. I'm trying to find her name. Awa. Thanks, Awa, everyone. I'll see you later. See you next time.